The Hype, and today we're here with Billimarie. My name's Kara, and so I think that you are inspiration. Could you tell us a little bit about your story?
I don't know where I would start, honestly. I think I've been traveling on and off for the past 3 years, typing free poems for people on my typewriter, just because it's something I'd like to do. This was the first year that I really decided, like, okay, you're going to quit the job, stop just having this as like a weekend hobby, and actually start going places. So last year, where was I? I was hitchhiking through California and Oregon. This year I was in New Orleans for a long time, and I would go to like Mississippi and some other places. Now I've been traveling around New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, of course my favorite city of them all, but don't tell anybody I said that. So yeah, that's basically my story. Free poetry for complete strangers in hopes that it brightens people's day, plus gives something back to me. You know, I'm meeting all different kinds. I'm meeting you guys. Like, how we would have never met if you didn't see the sign and didn't like look over and have the bravery and courage to be like, well, let's try it. Why not?
So what inspired you to do poetry?
Ooh, what inspired me to do poetry? That's a question I should be asking you too. She's also a poet. I would say that I like the concise nature of using specific words in specific ways in order to get at the heart of something. You know, so with fiction, it's very much of like okay, I'm telling you the story, and yes, the words matter, but at the same time, it's about the story. With poetry, it's more or less like every word counts. The placing matters, the line breaks matter, how you say it matters. A lot of people forget that aspect where they think, oh, I'm reading this poem. No, you gotta feel it viscerally. You gotta hear it being spoken to. There's so many elements to poetry that I think a lot like music or even like fashion, like all different kinds of arts. There are ways to go about it.
Okay, so next question. What is your ultimate dream? Like,
oh goodness!
It could involve poetry, just like whatever. Like, where do you see yourself in the future?
Ooh, my ultimate dream. Sorry. Oh, I have so many. I mean, the basic would be that I could help out my family and they would be happy, and that would be fun. So however I would go about it, but without compromising like my dreams and ideas. Because when I first started this, my mom was like, oh, but what about your job, and what about your brother and your sister and helping out the family? So if there was a way to do that without compromising, that would be awesome. But outside of that, for myself, if I could get paid to produce art every single day without compromising, I would do it in a heartbeat. That would be amazing. So I'm trying to do that with or without the money issue. Trying to sneak my way around. We'll see though. We'll see. That's my idea.
Awesome. How do you think that your life now will affect who you will be in the future?
Oh, honestly, probably negatively. But I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that if things don't go as planned, then at least I have this story that I can fall back on and tell people, and you know, I could be an older person saying, oh yeah, I did do that once, that crazy thing where you're wandering around the U.S. writing free poetry for people. Like, it sounds so ridiculous now, so I can only imagine how ridiculous it'll be in the future. But honestly, I see every poem I write is an exercise, right? It's a draft. You're getting the first draft, the only draft, and it's yours. And so it's been a creative way to kind of express different things without just keeping it to myself, because then you also get feedback. You know, you get a person who's like, oh yeah, you know, this is what I like about it, this is what I don't. Most of the time nobody says they don't like it, but in the future I see this as helping mostly with my writing and just talking with people and connecting and being part of the moment, if that makes sense. Because it's so easy to just not do that when you're writing. Especially you're writing, you're just inside your own head. You're in a room somewhere. You're internally all the time. And after going to school, I was like, well, I don't want to just be a boring poet who's in class of, either going to be a teacher. I want to do something weird and radical, and that kind of connects me with other people and not just this ivory tower of words that are awesome, sure. So that's the hope.
What's the story?
Ooh, yeah, the story. Oh, you gotta see the typewriter.
Nobody uses typewriter.
So it's actually a 1950s Royal, which just means it was made in the 1950s, and it's a Royal typewriter. I love the color, and that's why I bought it. I don't have a cool story. Like, I didn't find it in the attic, and it's not my grandmother's, and it's just, I saw it on eBay, and I thought,
awesome.
yeah, exactly. But the cool story comes in when, after I received it, I realized that the keys they were very sticky, and so it was hard to type with. So I had to Google places that could fix typewriters. And of course, as you can imagine, nothing came up except for this one shop in LA, East LA, Highland Park. This guy, Ruben, his dad had been fixing typewriters all throughout, the 70s, 80s, 90s. But his dad was really old, and I think actually passed away. And so Ruben, he was like 50 or something. But he was this guy who knew everything about typewriters. He had this little shop, like this hole-in-the-wall shop that was called U.S. Office Supplies or Office Paper. It wasn't even typewriter. You can tell this wasn't like a hipstery BS sort of place. It was like this guy who knew the history of typewriters, who understood how they work as machines. And I don't know, being in that place and then having him fix it, it was just this magical project. It cost money, as all things do. But it was such a good experience that I started telling other people about his shop, because, I mean, the last time I got it fixed was years ago, and it still works perfectly. So I'm happy. The ribbons you have to buy. They're like $10 on eBay. But I don't know if they're going to keep making them, because I think the last typewriter company, like typewriting manufacturer, was closed down. It was in India, and it closed down maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, that was like the last manufacturer in the world.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. It was really cool.
I think your story is really inspirational.
Oh, hey. That's good to hear.
And stay tuned and keep watching the hype.